Chats are live. Now I'm starting up Twitch. Boop. There we go. I will reopen Twitch on my phone so I have an easier to read chat because it's kind of hard to read on this monitor. But yeah, want to check this out. Let's see. What do we got? Boom. We are up and running. Let's go, yo. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. All right. Seems like everything is good to go. I'm going to mute myself for a second. Music isn't very loud for me, but it sounds like it's pretty loud for y'all, so I'm going to lower it a little bit. I think that should be okay. So far, all the music that I've been choosing for the streams comes from the D&D Music Overhaul spreadsheet that I have, that I run. If you become a member of the Patreon, you'll get access to this. Also, if you become a channel member, you'll get access to this, depending on your tier. But I basically make a spreadsheet for all the music that I have come across so that I can use it when I am running my D&D campaigns, and it might help you too, because a lot of it is you can find on YouTube. These are all files that I have, but a lot of it you can find on YouTube. Or you can go out and support some artists like Dark Fantasy Studio, who has like thousands of tracks, and they're all intended to be used as like background ambience. So, like, yeah, go for it. Support them. You can support me. I'll help y'all out. Right now, the overhaul is the super intensive version. Where this is the complete version. It tells me where to find all the files so I can play them and what have you. But it originally started as this document. Songs in red are ones that I played, but I won't ever play again. Like they had a special meaning to the players in my campaigns. I'm not going to use them again. Yellow are ones that are already on the computer that I use as the jukebox. So I have a lot more music to go through here. And then when that's done, I have a ton of music in a separate text document that I want to eventually add to the D&D Music Overhaul spreadsheet. So at some point, this is going to get updated. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm running some clerical streams over on Twitch. So almost every day, if there's no other stream going on, I go on Twitch. And recently, I've been putting my commander decks for MTG in to Mox fields so that I can then export them to Cockatrice and use my own decks online. So that's almost done. And you guys actually voted that you'd rather see me do what I consider clerical streams about adding music to the music overhaul sheet. So that's probably coming next. So yeah, feel free to hang out for that. I do have to take a look at, what are they called? They're not memberships, but the subscriptions on my Twitch channel. I would like to bring them in line with what I do on YouTube and Patreon as much as possible. If it could just be the same across all three, that would be amazing. I would love that. And it would help other people figure out what's going on. But in addition to the D&D Music Overhaul list, you will also get access to my homebrew repository. This is all the player options that I would be accepting of in a game that I was running. Obviously, some of them need tweaks because there's plenty of homebrew out there that needs tweaks to be normal. Hopefully, the stuff that we're looking at today will make it into the homebrew subclasses area. Hopefully, we'll see. Depends on how My real criteria for this is not only based on like how balanced it is, but also how complicated it is. There's a lot of homebrew stuff out there that's just incredibly complicated for seemingly the only reason that it's so complicated is because they wanted it to be complicated. And I can tell you from experience, the easier your character is to run, the easier it will be to play the game.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty fair to not overload people with complex ideas and additional strategies for characters, especially if it's coming to you from someone who's a first time player who's like, "Oh, I found this dope thing I want to try." And it's like, "Oh, you've never played, and on top of it, this is using mechanics I've never heard of."
Hello, Shin.
Good afternoon or evening, everybody, depending on your geographical location.
So that like what we just described, I'm pretty sure once we get to the board, which will be the next subclass we take a peek at today, I'm pretty sure it's going to get a resounding no from the group based on how complex
Hmm.
it is. It's a good
Um,
concept,
inter-
but
Interestingly enough, I don't know anything about either of them. I haven't looked into any of the additional stuff. I wanted to go into this blind, as I did the last
ooh,
two, to kind of give my completely fresh opinion, first time opinion. And the board in itself has me thinking one way, so I'm kind of curious to see how it actually powers out and plans out.
I think we will at least get through these two. I don't think it'll be going as quickly through the classes, or rather the subclasses. Definitely, we as a group do not go through classes quickly, but subclasses will definitely move through faster. I don't think it'll be
I
as
think we
fast as
can. I
going
think
through a
we can.
creature.
No, but I do think we're. I do think we've gained some skills. We've learned some abilities since episode one. So I think here, what is this episode? Eight? Nine?
This would be technically 9.
Holy crap!
Uh, I started arranging them. So if you guys haven't hung out for DM Roundtable yet, we started with a homebrew class, and that took us 7 streams to get through. Uh,
Yeah.
and we were like, wow, that took way longer than any of us expected, but we did it. There will probably be some Patreon side content later in the future for that specific subclass, or for that's a whole class for that specific class.
Yeah.
Uh, and then last session, which was 2 weeks ago, we took a break last week for Memorial Day. Uh, Last session, we took a peek at just creatures that are homebrew. Today, we're going to be taking a peek at just subclasses that are homebrew. So I left the empowered as its own like set of numbers. So there's streams 1 through 7. But for the creatures, the last one was creatures number 1, and this one's going to be subclasses number 1.
Well, I'm excited to see what we've got, and I do agree. We'll see. We'll see what our takes on everything are and how it all pans out. But who knows? Maybe we will. Maybe we'll find less that we like about it than we know.
Ah! I just knocked over my phone and it hit my monitor and it did that thing where all the colors invert when you press too hard, and I was like, oh no, that's not how I
Oh
want to start a
god.
stream. Oh no.
It's not my go-to.
Oh no.
It's not usually how I start. Also, do tell me, how do I sound to you? Do I sound too
Pretty
far, too
good.
close? Okay, good. Trying a USB-C headset today.
Ooh. I was a little worried if any of you guys out there can hear it. According to OBS, it is not going through, but I do have a little fan on me because it is hot as hell right now.
Oh, it is McBoylan where I am as well. I know where I'm down state from you, but I'm dying. Currently dying.
I haven't swapped my
I,
clothes out yet, so I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, and that was a mistake.
you fool. What are you doing?
I'm
Love
a
yourself better than this.
sweaty, sweaty boy. Ugh.
Love yourself more than this. I demand it.
All right.
Don't make me tell.
I don't think DM Bacon is going to be joining us, but it is almost DM Bacon's birthday, and he got a gift from a group of us today. So I'm pretty sure he's messing around with that. But whenever he does show up, we will definitely wish him a happy birthday. It might not be this session. We may have another DM next session, though, which will be great. And DM Lakara should be showing up momentarily for this one.
You got the usual, some of the usual suspects.
Yeah. If you didn't know already, I'm Scott or DM Okami, whatever you want to call me. You guys know my name's Kage. I've been here for years. If you come to the channel, you probably know who I am. And with me right now is...
What's going on, everybody? I am professional non-poster, even though he has social media platforms, DM Shin, or occasionally found on the internet as Mad Alchemy. I'm glad to be here with you guys again. It's been really fun to continuously join you guys week after week on DM Roundtable and kind of see, some of the stuff that's coming up and some of the ideas that people have out there. Hopefully, I can even portray one of my things on here one day in the future. As I continue to finish up an adventure that I've been writing and crafting.
I like it. Okay, so speaking of that, one thing we decided a couple sessions ago was that at the end of every session, we're going to, in the group chat that we have for all the DMs, we run a poll that runs 24 hours, and that basically lets us choose what the next week's episode is going to be about. I went and arranged all of my all of my homebrew bookmarks. This doesn't include the PDFs and other stuff that I have, but just my homebrew bookmarks. I have arranged all of them. They're all in their separate areas. So like this is a pretty good this is the smattering of the content that we can get through first. The only one on here that's probably a little weird is homework, and that is if it's like a whole supplement, so something big that has a whole bunch of different stuff, I put it in the homework section, based on something DM Bacon had said way back when.
I guess those are the ones that you really want us to sit down and analyze that we're going to have to kind of tear apart.
Those will probably be like multi-week episodes for sure, kind of ending up like the Empowered. But
hopefully not as long for everybody.
Yeah, hopefully not. I think we can get through things faster than 7 episodes.
Yeah, I think we've gained the skill. Slowly but surely.
But I did say something last session, and I made a post on it about it on Patreon as well. If you guys have a vote, technically, the jukebox is an account. So I was thinking, since that jukebox account is in the chat that we are all in, that's another person that can vote. So I'm thinking of instating, for now at least, if you guys have come to the video and you make it, or even if you watch it after we're done, but it's still in that 24-hour period, I will put in a vote from the jukebox as the community vote for one of these categories here. So whatever thing you guys write in first in the chat, if it's within 24 hours of the last stream, then you'll have a vote in the poll. Or if a bunch of you have done it, we will take whichever one has the most votes.
That could be fun. And also, I think we've mentioned before, Okami, that if you guys have anything cool that you want us to check out or maybe review, feel free to drop it on us, whether it be in a link here or on Discord if you have us on any of our other social media platforms. Feel free to shoot the message out. we'll get it to Okami if it's one of us. And of course, Okami's always open to new content to throw at us to have us take a look at and analyze for no reason, except to drive ourselves insane with hours of thought.
Listen, sometimes you need to be judged.
Don't. I feel like if it was possible to just have like a pop up on your stream that just was his eyes just glaring like that, I think that should just be like the subscription notification at some point. Just
Oh, that's amazing.
just
I could
judging.
set a button so that he just like fades in the corner of whatever we're looking at. I'm gonna look into
I
doing
need
that.
that. I need that. I need that to happen.
Hush,
It's just,
devil,
it's just
judgment button.
a devil judgment button. I need that in my life. I need him to just float in with his judging. Look at that. Look at that evil looking bastard. Sorry. I can't help it. I've added him to the campaign adventures that I'm writing
This guy
just
needs to
because
be
I need him
everywhere.
to exist. So I'll tell you, and it's not a spoiler, but uh, in my campaign of the treasures people can find, you can find many different lamps, as it's a desert adventure, and one of the lamps has one of the roll chances in the lamp is a hush devil who just pops up and shuts you up when you ask for a wish because you think it's a genie
Oh my
or a
God.
djinn.
He's coming.
If you're a mage, he may take away your ability to say the word wish, so you can't use a wish spell.
Amazing. Amazing.
Listen, hush devil, don't play that. He's judging you.
Ye shall. Oh no, what is what is
Big
the
O,
thank you.
cast in the name of God, ye not guilty.
There we go. Except ye
Oh,
are
I know that.
guilty. 100%.
I know that. Oh, you to the hush devil, you are so guilty. He's not even contemplating your innocence.
All right. I think that DM Lakara will eventually join us. But the first subclass we're going to look at today is a Druid Circle. This is the Circle of Weavers. And the version that's up here is a bit outdated, but someone had asked the creator, which is Rachayz. I'm not Rachayz. I'm not sure. I'm probably going to end up calling it Rachayz during the stream, but there's no
Rachayz or
there's
Rachayz,
no
I don't know.
pronunciation guide, so I apologize. We are
We're
apparently
sorry.
not the first to look at this on a stream. There's another person who commented down there. And then what's really cool is somebody asked a couple months ago, like, did you know that your homebrew is illegible now? And Rachayz was like, oh, hold on, I'll fix that. So we have a viewable version here that works, and I'm happy about that. When we
Just take the
get to
viewable
it
version.
as well, Rachayz commented based on the past streamer, like in response to that past streamer grading and balancing things. But we're just going to take a look at the currently most updated version, and then we can take a look at what Rachayz had responded to before.
Oh, that was good. Oh, he gave a block.
Mm-hmm. One thing you're definitely going to pick up, everyone made fun of it in the actual Reddit post, was that they're pretty sure this is how Eder caps happened. So if you want Eder caps, this is apparently how it starts.
I could see that. Well, I mean, obviously, it looks like we're gonna get some eight-legged magic here. As a Spider-Man loving arachnophobe, this is both excites me and petrifies me from the inside.
One thing I will say as we get into the abilities for this is that Rachayz like made this class in order to like supplement someone who is building straight poison, like that being their shtick,
Hmm.
because
Now you're
stats
speaking my
wise, at
language.
least when this came out, 25% of all creatures were immune to poison. So they were like, I gotta give you some kind of big bonus to make up for the fact that like your abilities aren't gonna work on a quarter of the things you run into.
I'll still use poison. I don't care.
I know.
Damage over time is my jam. But let's get into it. Seeing
All
as this is
right.
a druidic circle, second level is when everything seems to start, huh? Is there anything
Mhm.
above this? Are the arachnid form?
Nope. At the beginning, it's
Okay.
just, hey, some people like to chill with spiders. That's
Fair
true,
enough.
I guess.
That is true. So arachnid form. Seems like as a use of your wild shape, you get to assume a frightening form as an eight-legged, as eight large spider legs grow out of your back. Yikes! And weaves and wet weebs. Yes, weave. Uh, the lull of the internet. No, webs weave the air around you to protect you. As an action, you can expend the use of your wild shape form to feature to form these threads rather than transforming into a beast form. And you gain 4 temporary hit points for each level. Giving the spider climb effect, which makes sense, and
Mhm.
melee strikes using the arms with a wisdom mod. Okay,
Now,
just
one
reading
thing
that.
that's super interesting is that you get 8 extra legs, even though you already have 4 limbs.
Mm-hmm. That's 12 limbs. Okay. All right. One thing I gotta say as well is that the damage on hit is wisdom modified. You're a
Probably because
druid.
you're.
No, but looking at the way you have to build a druid is built around their wisdom as a primary stat. Giving
Mhm.
you a bonus without forcing you to invest in strength for any kind of damage bonus is great. If you want to be a dex wisdom build on this kind of druid, you get to really play around with that and kind of play a spider. You know what I mean? A
Mhm.
mage
Mhm.
spider, a magical spider, which is petrifying. I didn't need a spider in the corner of my room casting, Eldritch Blast on my stuff.
And like obviously we're going to call back to the stuff that we looked at already. Like, oh, it's so nice when you don't add another stat on that you now have to deal with.
Yes.
Empowered. Why are you making it so hard to build a character?
But it's true. Uh, giving you spider climb, I think that's a very underappreciated ability.
Mm.
Spider climb for I had played a ranger once in a one shot, and in the dungeon, my ranger had spider climb. I spider climbed up into the corner of the dungeon to give myself advantage on all of my ranged crossbow shots, and nothing
Ooh.
could get to me. So I just sat up there raining hell with this a great ability to just stand on the ceiling.
It's
You
so
know,
like it's so underrated. Everyone always thinks it's almost the same thing when you ask someone like what their favorite superpower would be. Everyone always says flight. But like
yeah,
there's so many other options that will still give you like the same advantages.
yeah.
I'm just gonna stay away, and now I can poke you from 10 feet away. Nice.
Oh yeah.
Cool thing is, they Rachayz specifically states that I was gonna say so you can hold 8 people at once by impaling them because it's piercing
Hmm.
damage, but no, you need 2 of your extra legs, so you can hold on to 4 people and still have your arms and legs free.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Oh, man. Just the idea of like, especially if you want to flavor it as instead of webs coming out of your booty hole or whatever your spider
You
equivalent
can do
is.
the you could do the Peter Parker come
Yeah,
out your
yeah, yeah.
wrists.
come out of your wrists, or like it just comes out of the tips of the spider legs. So each of those people you have wrapped up are in spider webs, and then you're just like
Ooh.
stabbing them while they're cocooned, and you'll have advantage because they're grappled.
I mean, this will get into obviously high level, but I'm just imagining that you wild shape in, and at high enough level, you just have like armor for each leg that you've had custom made. Like you're just permanently in that form. So you just have like little metal armor casings around all of your spider legs.
It's
Oh,
amazing. Interestingly enough, the creature escapes your grapple by rolling athletics against your spell save DC. So it's technically not contested. So you're going to have to raise your spell save DC to keep people locked up.
yeah.
Interesting.
But that happens naturally as you level up.
Unless every stat is your dump stat. I'm staring at the chat waiting for Grimbo to show up. I know he'll show up because I said that.
Stop summoning people using their pain. But seriously, don't ever make your primary stat your dump stat. I don't care what you roll. You argue with your DM. Don't do that.
You gotta. You just gotta. At level 2, you also get Silk Weaver. So you get Weaver's tools, and you can use your weave. You can use your own silk that you're making to make stuff. That's kind of cool. That's
That's
a
just dope.
very like you're not making weapons, and I guess you could make like blindfolds for people and what have you, but like this is a very cool, like you got both a combat focused ability and like an out of combat focused ability, which is nice.
Sure. Like I would even allow my player to like weave 50 feet of rope with enough time.
Ah, that's a
Like
good one.
learn to roll and create certain basic tools that you would use. You know what I mean? 50 feet of
Hmm.
rope, maybe like a small bag to hold stuff in. That may add to like encumbrance if you with encumbrance and coin weight like that. Uh, or maybe, you need something that's just very simple. You want to weave simple clothes and eventually gets better with your weaver's tools. I think that'd be a fun way to play around with it and really play up the fact that like maybe at night your player's character is just wild shaped, just having dinner and knitting with the extra spider arms.
Oh, all right. This next part, this little caveat that any wild shape option that has the web sense or web walker feature can produce web. I, I, you have spider legs. I'm gonna assume you could make your own webs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna force you to become a spider in order to make webs. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of being cool. Being this
Yeah.
this doppelganger person.
No, you can just do it. You're good. You've got spider legs popped out your back. You're good.
I got excited for Venom Strikes, but we're not there yet. Weaver magic.
Oh, let me see. Weaver magic.
Learn poison spray by okay, that's fine. Oh, at
Poison
second
spray is
level
not
you
bad.
learn poison spray, but the rest. Oh,
Uh-oh.
I see. Interesting. I don't know if I don't know if any other druid classes like you get stuff as you level up, like spell wise, that happens
Um,
multiple levels.
Spore. I think Spore does. I think you get a couple of the reanimate
Mm,
dead spells. Wildfire does. You get like some of the fire magic. I have a tale
ooh.
about a wildfire druid. Um, so this is a cautionary tale to anyone. If you ever want to throw off the common sense that has been established in your DM's game, don't do what I did. I was in VF or DMXO uh, DMXO campaign, and I was playing a ranger, and the ranger eventually came in contact with the Emerald Grove, and I was like, cool, dope, can I use this as a launch pad to like delve into Druid? And he's like, sure. So I took level 1 Druid, so I hit level 2 Druid, and I was looking at the Druid classes, and I was like, I don't know what I want to be. And I saw Wildfire Druid. Wildfire Druid doesn't make a lot of sense on paper. Because you can summon a fire elemental that can teleport and burn people at level 2.
A fire elemental at level 2?
It's like a tiny little fire wisp, yeah. And it can teleport people. And it's got a range fire attack.
I have in the campaign that DM Bacon is running, we have somebody has a genie's lamp, actually in a 3D lamp, and I happen to pick up a brazier of fire. So if I light a flame in it, I can summon a fire elemental. And like,
I don't know if any of you guys have run into a fire elemental, but like if a fire elemental can smack someone and just like chill on top of them, it does absurd damage because he's on fire.
Listen, it gets stronger as you grow. So, word to the wise, if you're gonna play a druid and you want to play a druid that makes no sense, play a wildfire druid.
Ooh.
But don't surprise your DM with what a wildfire druid does in the middle of the first fight you decide to debut the fact that you're a wildfire druid. It will throw everyone for a loop.
That's fair.
It will catch everyone off guard.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the reason I looked up poison spray is because Circle of Weaver's Weaver Magic version of poison spray changes poison spray from save or suck to you do half damage. And that is a change that Rachayz made because originally the buff was that poison spray is now 15 feet.
I like the change, personally.
Especially like this is something you're really good at. Like you're good at spraying poison. Yeah, I definitely agree with changing it from save or suck. That's great.
I can almost imagine like a black dragonborn druid Circle of Weaver, acid spraying someone with their breath attack, and then like poison spraying in between, but also having like literal spider legs and wings. The eldritch horror that you've created when you become a bloodborne boss. But at 3rd level, you have the web spell Always Prepared, and it counts as a druid spell for you, but doesn't count against the number of spells you have prepared, and allows you to cast it without spending a spell slot.
That actually makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's also really cool.
Yeah, you can use it based on your wisdom modifier, so you're now triple incentivized to build your wisdom. Please build your wisdom. Please.
Like, look for wisdom buffing items, ability to pump your stats with your wisdom on your feet and level 4 ability pumps, things of that nature. But also, web being the ability you gain with your modifier means you get to play a very fun game of control the field. I think that spells like web, mold earth, the secondary effects of spells like earthquake and things like that, they shape the field when you're, or even like any of the entangles and brambling entangles that exist. You get to control the field in a weird way, and web is really dope because it's just kind of like, hey, I'm stuck up here in the corner of this room shooting people with a crossbow, and then I just decide to cast web on a group that's encroaching on somebody else. You're stuck now.
And if you were working together with a wildfire druid for some reason, the webs from the web are flammable. So if
Are
people are
flammable.
caught in it, you can just set that stuff ablaze and burn everybody.
You could do that with a wildfire druid, a sorcerer, a fire genasi, maybe even a tiefling on your party who hellish rebukes inside of it and lights the whole thing on fire.
That's nice. I like that. I like that. I would say though that like the web that shoots out 60-foot range makes a 20-foot cube. Not the same as like just releasing your spider silk. Like I wouldn't let people just web forever. I would let you like shoot out some spider silk that you can weave through your weird spider legs.
Mm.
A 20-foot cube is a lot.
Yeah.
However, I would say if someone was playing a Circle of Weavers Druid in a game that I was running and they did shoot their web, I would let them just like take a handful of web and start weaving with it. Like they could just go in and be like, "Oh, I take all the goo from this 5-foot square of the 20-foot cube. Now I have goo to work with. Give me the silk."
Mm.
Ooh. Venom Strikes, Rachayz changed the name of because someone in the comments was like, it wouldn't be Poison Strikes. Thank you very much. Spiders are venomous. Thank you.
Fair.
Correct.
Nitpicky, but I'll accept it.
Yeah. Your spider arms deal an additional 1d6 poison, and while your spider legs are out, people lose an immunity to poison. Your poison is so potent, you lower their immunity to resistance.
That's impressive. Because you gotta think about this. You now have the chance to take away that 25% of the game that did not care you existed and had this damage. It's like, oh hey, remember how you stopped me from poisoning you? Now I will.
Oh man.
And you can only imagine an enemy in a campaign has no idea what this guy is. You know, he's thinking he's safe because he's got poison resistance. Imagine Drow being stuck in the Underdark, and they're like, "What is this guy gonna do?" Again, getting stabbed as a Drider by a guy who's also got spider legs. Oh, this is another way that you could say Driders are created. People who abuse the magic of their weaver circle.
When we get down to full form, that will make even more sense. Because Rachayz made a whole new creature that you can take the form of. You can become a weave spider. So we're just going to scroll on down to the weave spider. Become a large beast. Your hit points are 5 plus 5 times whatever your druid level is. Your AC is 13 plus your wisdom modifier, so another reason to incentivize build that wisdom modifier. Build it up. You get a bonus to stealth plus proficiency. That's okay. I thought there would be more than that.
You gain immunities to poison.
That tracks.
Dark vision and blind sight.
That's
cool.
So I've run a lot of giant spiders in the campaign that I'm running. A lot of giant.
I don't want to know why.
A lot of giant fire spiders as well. We just took like the fire stat block and made them fire because we're hanging out at like Mount Houghton now. So the elements kind of bled into the spiders and what have you. So we have a bunch of fire spiders and what have you. And my party, DM Bacon, he was like, I cast darkness. I'm gonna make it through. They can't see through the dark. And then my party touched the webs, and I was like, once you touch the webs, they know exactly where you are. Like they can feel the vibrations. That's in their stat block. And he
Yeah.
was like, fine. And the party set all the webs on fire. And then they were like, I'm gonna sneak up
Oh.
on them. And I was reading the stat block, and I was like, they have blind sight. They can see you coming anyway. And he was like, I wasted all this time doing nothing. And I was like, I'm sorry, bro.
Hey, you know what? They tried, and
Yeah.
I commend their attempt to win.
They did their
You know,
best. And they lived. So they really did do their best.
Hey, you know what? The fact that they lived, that is an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
I've only had one TPK in my entire playing game DMing career.
Really?
And yeah, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't really even the entire party's fault. It was one guy's fault.
Oh.
Who convinced two other people in his party that they shouldn't trust the nice wizard.
Oh, you silly.
And tried to attack him. They're like, why would this wizard just give us this powerful stuff and try and help us? I don't trust him. He's probably evil. And I was like, I'm glad you have awareness to think that I may not make everyone, your best friend, but
Fair.
the game's too early for me to start a betrayal of such high caliber. Long and story short, they decided to attack the wizard, and that attacking did not go too well.
I can understand that.
The wizard was less than thrilled that they decided to challenge his authority and assume he was evil, and he proceeded to beat their asses. I will say it was fun playing a level 20 wizard. I've never.
Imagine.
I tend to create NPCs in my games, so it was a lot of fun creating a level 20 wizard to kill my players with. Not gonna lie, that was kind of the highlight.
I can take that. So,
But that aside,
I'm
looking at this
surprised
thing,
when you become a weave spider. I'm very surprised that you don't have any kind of multi-attack or multi-ability. That's at level 10, and you can only swing once?
yeah, I would add at least a 2-strike. Well, I notice here actually, it doesn't seem like you ever strike with your arms.
Yeah, there's nothing in here for... Oh, it's weird that the weave spider stat block doesn't have the you can grapple people with your legs thing, but based on drain down here, you need it. Well, you could hit them with web, but if you could grab people and then
Or you
drain
can use
them,
bite as well, I think. Does the bite have a grapple effect?
no, but it makes people poisoned.
Okay.
So
Oh,
like
48, Jesus.
for drain, you're hoping to grapple them. So I'm guessing the idea is that when you're in weave spider form, you can still use your leggy attacks. But like it's weird that they're not added here as something specific because you only have 2 shots of web. So if you miss, if they escape both times, you can't ever use drain. And it's a recharge 6 ability as if it was like a dragon's breath. So you're intended to keep trying to use it. Corrupting Spray
It's
is
interesting.
really cool,
It
though.
does also. It's interesting that it also gives you hit point restoration.
So you
On
can
point.
keep up your spider form, because when you're a druid, when you lose your wild shape, you just go back to normal being a druid.
Yeah.
Oh, you can at will cast Poison Spray. That makes sense. Corrupting Spray is super cool. It doesn't specifically state it here. It just says if someone fails the throw, they'll lose resistance or immunity to poison damage. Now, normally, if you lose immunity, that means you drop down to resistance. This doesn't say that specifically. It just says they'll lose any bonus they have. So this is another way you could just be like, bleh, and vomit all over them. And then,
They become neutral to poison, essentially, is what
yep,
it's saying.
that is interesting. Not that you drop down, that it's just gone for 1 minute. So you have specifically 9 more turns to try and poison this creature now. But your team has 10 turns.
That's frightening, though, for a creature that had. Think about literally anything that's. A black dragon has poison immunity, if I recall.
I think you are correct.
You can
Oh.
strip a black dragon's poison immunity?
I should have gone with adult. Take me
But can
there.
you imagine that in a fight?
You're changing the rules of the world. Oh no, black dragon's immune to acid.
Okay.
Poison. Green. I think it's green.
Green is okay.
Show me. Why did Adopt Green come out? How many people are searching for Adopt Green? Yeah, green dragon. Immune to poison. So you just are like, hey, that element that's yours? Nah.
Walking through the forest and it's splashing poison in his breath, and you just shake it with your own. Yeah, I think that's
That is a change.
Also, imagine being the dragon,
I'd
feeling
be
poison for the first time, and being like, "Oh, this does not feel good."
I was born immune to this. What did you do to me?
Like, this is what it feels like. Oh, I don't like it.
And this is the actual weave spider. I feel like, though, the weave spider, because it's specifically a weave spider, like the weave of magic, that it should have it should have more spells. You know what I mean? I don't know what it would have, but it should have more. It's a weave spider.
I think they're looking at it from a very large monstrous spider sense and less of a magical spider sense. It's more of a mutation, a magical mutation than transformation.
That's true. I mean, I guess you're tanking it. So you also get I was reading some of the responses that Rachayz had put in earlier. You also get that bonus, 5 HP per level when you transform in here. So you'll start with an extra 50 HP. So I think the balance choices are that it doesn't have a lot of actions. Like, its action economy is very small, but it tanks really well for a spider.
Yeah, it's gaining your wisdom modifier once again. Pump that wisdom. You've already gotten at by level 10, 2 options to pump up your wisdom, most likely to 20. So you're looking at least +5, so an AC of 18. That's pretty solid.
And you'll have what? You'll have 105 health as the weave spider. So that's not bad. Oh no, 5 times your Druid. No, yeah, I'm right. 50 from that. You'll have 50 from your. Was it 5 or was it? I'm pretty sure it was 5. No, 4. So a little less than that. You'll have like 100 health to be a spider to try and like get rid of someone's poison immunity for a minute so that you can bite them or drain them. So potentially you could stay out there a lot longer. That's not
You're
bad.
also gaining that blind sense, poison sense, and if we're using the green dragon as an example, you turning into this, you resist its poison breath, and then get to walk up and stab it and take its ability to get away from poison.
I would love to. I will do that later. I will definitely add the weave spider to my list of creatures, but pair it with a bunch of creatures that deal poison damage. Doesn't necessarily have to be a druid in my world, but that would be a pretty good enemy. That would be a pretty good like enemy leader.
It could have been a druid.
That's true. It could be a druid. It's a pretty good enemy leader.
It could be like trapped in between this form and them.
Oh, that's even cooler. I would definitely give him more spells then. He's trapped in this body, but he's learned. Oh, I have a stupid idea. He's learned to be, or they've learned to be in this form so well that they can now cast multiple spells simultaneously because they have more hands for somatic components.
That's scary.
Oh, that's sick.
So they get 2 poison sprays. So they get 2 poison sprays per turn.
Ooh, that's nice.
Because they're now firing the poison out of there. Like they're putting 4 hands together to fire out this poisonous blast from 2 different sets of arms.
I like it. And because it's casting spells, like even if your players just look at it and they're like, oh, it's a spider. It starts casting spells. They're like, what the hell kind of spider is that?
You can almost make it like Quelaag from Dark Souls 1.
I was thinking that, how can I make this fire?
There you go.
I don't think any of my players are in the chat, but there's a very upset fire phase spider that you guys never killed. Just so you know.
Somebody's gonna get themselves killed by a fire spider.
They were trying to chat with it and everything, and then it was mourning its wife, who they murdered. It's a big, colossal spider. I used the queen spider from the Bloodborne board game for it. It was so freaking big. And they killed it, and it was trying to mourn, and they were like, "Get out of here!" And it was like, and disappeared, and I was like, "All right."
They really messed up. Oh God, they're gonna die. They're finna die. Oh, Kami, they're not going to make it.
Usually they're very far on the. We had this discussion how like every D&D party, there's a scale. On one side is murder hobo, and the other side is adoption agency. And like my party is very far.
Your party is adoption agency.
Yeah, my party is very far on the adoption agency side. And I was like, that's one thing you didn't adopt.
They're like, it's too ugly. You don't want any. I think that is the one thing that they will, and it sets up a very interesting kind of way to play around with the world, because if you wanted to, you could have an event exist in your world where all of a sudden there's been reports of like burning webs all over, like houses burning down covered in webs.
Hmm. Just gonna
And
double
if your
check
party
chat.
decides to investigate it, guess who they run into? A recently rebuilt fire spider clan.
Yep. None of my players are in the chat right now. That's good. It does take a while to, birth a new brood and what have you.
It's the beauty of time and its passage, my boy.
Just something to think about.
They're gonna die.
But now we're at our final ability. At level 14, you get Master Weaver. At 14th level, you can pull on the strings of the weave of magic as though it were part of your web. Huh? Oh,
Okay.
you have like anime Garots around you, made of the weave specifically.
What the hell?
That's intense! Within 30 feet?
Oh.
Within 60 feet if you're...
And so you have blindside up to 60 feet when you're in your spider form, either with just the legs or as a weave spider after level 14, because you can feel people touching the arcane threads around you.
That's insane. That's absolute insanity.
Oh, wow. That's
You
a
become
really
literally,
cool ability, though.
You literally become, and this being its penultimate ability at 14. Okay, I don't normally suggest this to people, but this gives you 6 levels to play with if you're going to 20. Now, most players will never reach 20.
Fair.
But on the off chance that you happen to find yourself in one of the magical campaigns where you are able to get to level 20, you could take 6 levels of monk and gain flurry of blows. You've already got great wisdom, potentially good dexterity. Imagine being an 8-armed monk.
Oh, where each of your flurry of blows have a chance. They deal both poison and piercing, but they all have a chance to grapple someone.
Yep.
Oh man, that's beefy.
And just like that, you've become Shang Spider-Man Chi. You are the Iron Spider Fist.
All right.
You quite literally are gonna punch holes through people.
Well, you won't be high enough to also gain Quivering Palm, but maybe if your DM's very nice, you can get a poison version of Quivering Palm. If you were to do that, like you strike someone and then later on you have them like, no, even cooler than that. You strike some. I would maybe, if you were making a BBEG or something like that with a weave spider specifically, how cool would it be if this spider can get you in the grapple, if it can impale you, it makes you a carrier for the toxin spores. And at some point later, they start like pumping out of all of your orifices, out of your pores, and then all of your team loses whatever immunity they had to poison. And then this spider comes on back.
Oh, that's right. Or even better, you put it in an NPC that they save, and it rebirths out of the NPC, and now they're debuffed and in a fight. No matter where they are.
Oh, I like this. I like it like that. I like it like that.
It's always good if you're, especially a party of adoption agents.
Mm-hmm.
I am not against taking out a Kenny or two in my campaign. I will absolutely utilize evil children.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, now the question becomes, would you allow the Circle of Weavers in a game you were running?
Honestly, yes.
My answer is also 100% yes. I think that this is great flavor-wise. I feel like I would give my players something for action economy, specifically when you're a spider.
Mm. Mhm.
But other than that, I think that this is really well balanced.
Yeah. I think it's extremely well balanced. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it doesn't go too far out of its way to become something crazy. It kind of just
Mm.
keeps within the confines of what a regular uh, subclass would do in 5e. It doesn't break the confines of the game. It doesn't require you to learning new mechanics. The biggest argument you could make is maybe seeing how much more you could get away with your arm.
Mm.
But all in all, I personally think it's a great use and really well done. I think it's fun. I think it's well done, and I think that I would put it in my campaigns very easily. I think it has I think it has a great place.
Especially if, like Rachayz said at the beginning, like, it's maybe that these people are drow. Like, if you live underground, like if you are a drow or a duergar, that like extra option to be able to just walk around wherever in any cave because you can get on the ceilings and the walls, like, or even if you're playing kobolds, more like kobolds are supposed to be, like they're ingenious little crafters. If you're playing them that
Mhm.
way, where they have like little hidey holes everywhere, oh man, a kobold circle of weavers druid, perfection.
That is fun. That is fun. I like that.
Or I'm gonna try to summon him again. Maybe instead of a kobold, you're playing a cool boy.
You're not summoning the boy.
He,
I think he's unsummonable
it's the
tonight.
funniest. He, so they have like they sort of kind of adopted a whole colony of like spell plague infected and spell scarred
Oh
kobolds and what have
no.
you. And we're having this conversation
God.
about them, and everyone else at the table's talking, and then Grimjack was like, what's the leader of the cool boys? And we're all just like, huh? What? And then I looked at him and I was like, the cool boys. I don't know who they are, but I'm sure all of them have sunglasses. And they are the equivalent of the Squirtle Squad, wherever they are in the universe. He's like, the cool boys! We're all talking about them. And we're all looking at each other like, huh? And then we're like, wait, you mean kobold? And he's like, cool boys, that's what I said. And we're like, no, that's not what you said.
Oh Jesus. Oh. Oh. Ooh.
And then we went to the nerd store over here, and they have a bunch of Magic the Gathering and other stuff, like big statues, like life-size statues, and they put a kobold statue right in front of the entrance to the doorway.
No,
And when
you
we
didn't.
walked in,
No, you didn't.
me and Jack
No, you
TT,
didn't.
both of us were like, oh, look at this cool boy. We were like, can someone get him a pair of sunglasses, please?
I hate y'all. Y'all know what you did was terrible.
He's gonna be like, blah, 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 blah.
He has shifted in his slumber. He knows.
He knows. He knows. But that was the Circle of Weavers by Rachayz. Apparently, at some point, you were only able to use poison spray while you had temp HP, and I'm glad that they took that out. I think that would have been dumb. It's a cantrip. Like, take it.
Let me use it. Yeah. Let me use the cantrip.
Take it. You have been judged favorably. We love you, Circle of Weavers Druid.
Yeah, you definitely get a thumbs up on everything, Circle of Weavers. I think it's gonna be. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and I think it might be something that I would include in a fun campaign if I wanted to add in some cool like extra subclasses for people. Every once in a while, I enjoy limiting the number of subclasses people have to run through, especially for new players, unless they have an idea what they want to be already. Kinda to make the oh god. Sorry, the stream caught up for a second, and I just saw that the face of the judging Hush Devil, and I got shook it for a moment. But I think that he's a lot of fun. I think it could be used in a lot of cool ways, and I don't think, like I said before, I don't think I have to worry about someone breaking the game. I could put this in there with like 3 other Druid classes, and it's a fun way to use Wild Shape. If someone's like, I don't know how I want a Wild Shape, turn into Spider-Man. If he was in that horrible mutant version of himself from the 90s cartoon.
Ooh, when he becomes Man Spider.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Spider-Man, which is a Spider-Man consistent of spider.
True.
Spiders, man. That's funny. So tragic. So freaking tragic.
Sorry,
But
I'm trying to change the music, but the jukebox is fighting me for some reason. Because we are moving on to the board. Okay, so the board, there was a GM binder for it. There was a PDF for it. But people kept asking they kept asking or maybe it's Arhtemis. Maybe Arhtemis. What up, evil? People kept asking them for it periodically since they released this, and they did provide some updates at some point. And then somebody asked a couple months ago, and they were like, "Yo, can you re-upload this or something?" And they were like, "Nah, but I only made minimal changes, so you might as well just use these pictures." And I was like, "Oh, oh, oh, oh," because as we get into this, you'll be like, "Oh," with me.
I'm kind of scared now, but let's start. Let's get to it.
So, if you couldn't tell, the fact that it's called the board and that it has the main character from Control on it, this is the Warlock Patron is the board from Control. And if you didn't know, Control is based on another TTRPG called SCP, Secure, Contain, Protect, where just weird stuff in the world happens, and these people have to catalog it. And the cool thing about it as a TTRPG is that most of the anomalies in the universe are community created. So they become canon after someone starts cataloging the stories about them.
You've probably seen stuff related to it in a lot of different ways across the internet. This is the TTRPG edition that Control is based off of. You may see things that you've seen in some of the games related to SCP and things of that nature, but it's not entirely perfectly one-for-one relation.
For sure.
Just to be clear, because I do know SCP is another thing out there that some YouTubers have played games based on, which is the same premise. Just to be clear, but in a different version, in a different package.
I do. Grimjack actually bought the, I guess what you could consider the equivalent to the player's handbook, the DMG, and what's the third book I'm thinking of? The Monster Manual, sort of, kind of SCP's equivalent. And I have those. At some point, I'll look them over. And obviously, I'm going to steal a whole bunch of stuff from them. Why wouldn't I? That's how good TTRPGs are made and played. by stealing whatever you can.
That's how it was built. Literally how we build things. Well, let's get into it. The board. Whoa. Can I get a bit of a zoom?
Wait, I know what I can do. I tried to make it bigger before. There we go. Oh, that's a little too big. There you go. If I open the pictures themselves, then I can make it bigger. I tried to make it bigger before and it didn't work. But here we go.
Perfect.
I didn't think of opening the pictures themselves. That was stupid. I love you, man.
Right. And folks, if you've been enjoying the content that you've been listening to so far, hi. I'm DM Shin, here to remind you that once again, DM Okami here will not eat until you subscribe either here on YouTube or on Patreon or on Twitch. I know what you're thinking. Hey, but Elden Ring's new DLC's coming out. And that's great. But you know what else is coming out? The kindness that you're presenting when you like, comment, share, and subscribe. The hard work DM Okami puts together for all these videos. So take a second to like, upvote, do all the clicks and things, and help this man stop drinking LaCroix.
Oh,
For me.
the TV static of drinks? What a downgrade. I'll take the sludge.
We don't want him to do the sludge again. God, please no.
Wait, can I type in Twitch chat in... Does it accept IMEs? Oh my god, it does. Hell yeah. Sorry. I thought that I was sending love back to you, Evil, but it is not. I believe that is dance.
Send him dead.
That is, nope, that was not what it... When it was small, I thought it was love. Nope.
No, it's dead.
But anyway, the cool thing about the board as far as D&D goes is they're saying the board is just one entity that lives out in the astral plane. So technically, that means should your DM allow it, you could go visit them.
Mm-hmm. You could. That could be kind of your goal. Is to find your way to them.
And the weird part is, like, the way that it's described here is that only people it is directly intending to talk to can understand it. So other people probably think you're insane.
So, oddly enough, the board automatically reminds me of an item that does exist in 5e already, known as the Stone of Galore. If you're not familiar with it, in Waterdeep, its unique ability is that it is an alien object that will provide you infinite wisdom when asking things. However, you have to complete its goal. It's only driving you to complete its goal. And if you fail to complete its goal or die or somehow
There we go.
resist and make it angry and it'll have it disconnect from you, you will forget everything it ever taught you, and it has a chance to leave you in a literal stupor.
Ooh-wee.
I feel like the Stone of Galore would be something this would give its player. Like, hey, this is an odd object. Help it out, figure out what it wants, and then get back to us.
So that being said, I haven't made a video on this, but if any of you guys know Griffin's Saddlebag, he makes a lot of magic items and what have you, but he's released 2 books with all the content that he's made, and he has a Warlock patron. He has a new god. We use him in our campaign. Kriir is the Astral Griffin, and he's supposed to be a god of just like trying to figure things out and stuff that like was wanted at one point, but now people don't remember it, what have you. So like stuff just randomly floats up to him, and functions kind of in the same way as the board does in this specific situation.
It's kind of cool.
But what do you get from the board? You get your expanded spell list, as all warlocks do, so you get some more stuff. You get a service weapon, which is super cool if you've played Control. How it works in the game, though, or how it works here, though, but it's pretty cool. Then at 6th level, you get objects of power. 10th level, you improve your service weapon. I would hope so. Then powerful bounding, altered world event. Hoo-wee. Now,
all right, well, let's see what we got here.
expanded spell list. Keep in mind that it's not like sorcerers who get sorcerer's origins where they just learn new spells. The expanded spell list for the warlock is that you can learn these spells. They're not given to you. Like the other classes get stuff for free. The warlock's expanded spell list is like, yeah, I got that good stuff, but you're gonna have to work for it.
Which is in line with a warlock.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that you're borrowing power. It's like, hey, I'm not gonna just give this to you, but you can learn it from me, from working for me. And taking a look at the first set of spells you get, Catapult and Dissonant Whispers. Dissonant Whispers is fun.
Love Dissonant Whispers. I love anything that like makes people think they're crazy.
Yes.
It's just, that's the good stuff. We will open
and
it
Catapult. And Catapult's a psychic fling. It's literally, it's just like, I'm whipping this across the room at you.
Not in the campaign that DM Lakar is running. Catapult is one of those spells where you need a piece of ammunition. Like Hail of Thorns is the same. Like you need a piece of ammunition. And when we started her campaign, a bunch of the people in it have never played D&D before. And like the spell, you need a piece of ammunition to cast some spells. So I had my ranger who didn't have his bow on him or his slingshot or whatever. He just looked for a rock, and then he cast the spell on the rock and flicked it at something. And they were like, "It seems like you just did a lot of extra work." And I was like, "No, you can only apply this spell to a piece of ammunition." So I had to do it.
I get what they're saying. Like, to burn a spell slot to throw a rock seems like a whole lot. But
I needed thorns.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's actually hilarious.
There's a lot of cool stuff in here. Like these are all very flavorful abilities. I think the only one, well, no, I was gonna say the only one that doesn't necessarily fit in would be haste. But considering the two choices are wind wall and haste, they do fit in pretty well.
Think about it. You're altering perception around you to make it seem as though you're doubling down. Like there's two of you. You're altering someone's perception.
The way that Control has it, you definitely can like float and move faster than the average person, for sure.
It's also cool to give you gifts. It works very similar to the anime code Yes, in that you literally get to make a marker on someone, and they are under your control. Like they are bound to follow your whim.
I did not know that Gias lasted 30 days.
Yes. It is that long.
And you take 5d10 damage once a day, every day, if you disobey orders. Wow. If you use a 9th level spell slot, it lasts forever. What a dick move! That's if you really hate one creature.
Or imagine like imagine having someone in your party, or like the big bad has cast Geas on like the king and is literally shadow puppeting your entire player team because by giving them quests that literally are helping him.
Mm.
And then he just appears and he's just like, oh, that guy? Yeah. I cast Geese at like 9th level on him. And hold on, does it say that you only get one person?
Uh,
Oh, your mic just went weird.
yes.
Your mic just went crazy.
I bet you it's because I let out. So, for those of you out there in YouTube land making videos and what have you, one thing that recording software hates, Discord does this too, OBS does it. If you let out a note and sustain that note, like things don't change, the noise gate often has no idea what to do with that. Discord just completely cuts it out, but I think OBS has a more negative reaction.
Oh.
So I was going, for a while.
That, you know what? I think that tracks with the other few times I think we heard it throughout the stream.
Oh man. Oh, did they
So
change
for
the
those of you
icon for
watching,
Charmed? What?
so for those of you watching this in the future,
Interesting.
this is the part where we explain that weird noise that you've heard maybe 2 or 3 times in the video.
Very understandable. So you get your service weapon. If you've seen
Explain this thing.
Control, it's sort of a futuristic revolver-looking thing, but it can change form. So the way that they have put it in is this Arhtemis, not judging, but Arhtemis.
Arhtemis. Okay.
You can get from your firearm, you can cast Eldritch Blast, which, let's face it, if you were a warlock, you could cast you were going to get Eldritch Blast anyway. It's your best option.
Yeah. If you don't, okay, I'm gonna put it to you like this. I've heard that in one D&D, the future of at least WotC tabletop, Eldritch Blast is just going to be given to players. It's not even a cantrip. It's just a thing you can do.
Eldritch Blast.
I think that in the same vein, Magic Missile should be given to wizards and sorcerers, even though it's as a cantrip.
Ooh.
And I think clerics should all be given some kind of spark related to their order that does damage of a certain type.
Interesting.
Like a holy word that does damage. I think that, and I say that not because I think that everyone should be prepared for combat, but because I think it's cool to give people flavored ideas in combat that they can use should things come up. Because now you can change and throw different things and different resistances and things of that nature at people in combat that make them kind of think. If your sun cleric has a holy word or a holy aura, or, you know, can like hit something with like 1d3 of sun damage, of like light damage, right? Of radiant damage. Like a light spark. You're facing undead that have a resistance to non-magical weapons. Well, now you've got an advantage because hey, you have someone who can hit for damage. They don't have to be relegated to just sitting back and hopefully trying to do one or two things. They can kind of be in the fight. I like things of that nature.
I feel like this is not necessarily a critique of 1D&D because it's not out yet, but I feel like there are so many people set in their ways about 5e because it's been out for so long that like anyone who's played 5e might open a book here or there, but like isn't going to change the way they play.
I'm going to investigate it. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm going to investigate it, and I'm going to give it my honest. I'm going to give it an honest attempt. Is the best way to put it. Because I don't know that even myself now, I find myself playing modified versions of 5e. Find those more fun. Kind of making little adjustments here and there in 5e. So maybe 1D&D will address certain things that I've hoped it would, you know? Like you said, though, it's not out yet, but we don't have to, so I'm not going to fully critique it.
Yeah, like
but...
I can't be mad at it if it doesn't exist yet. Like, you got to let it cook. I went there.
Not going to even be mad at you.
I was like, my joke was so bad, DM Shin laughed.
I sat here and I thought to myself, I was like, he didn't. He really did. No, he really did. And I'm just like, I'm just going to let it go.
I'll let it go. Alright, so your service weapon has 4 forms, and every time you take a nap, you can choose from 2 of the forms, and then you can switch between them on the go. The first one is Grip, which just lets you cast Eldritch Blast. Essentially, each of these forms changes Eldritch Blast into something different. But, like, the basic one just being Eldritch Blast, like, I'm a Warlock, I'm gonna take Eldritch Blast. Like, I don't need a gun to shoot Eldritch Blast. It's gonna come out my hands. Little weird that you just have this is your Eldritch Blast shooter. Like, I got hands, don't I?
Yeah.
Or your mouth, whatever. I'm not listen, if you wanna Dr. Octagonopus and have it shoot out of your mouth, like, I'm gonna let you do that.
Only if you're a weaver. Spider.
Next up, you have Shatter. Eldritch Blast fires 3 energy streaks at the same time. It deals 3d4 force damage to a single target, but its range is reduced to 30 feet. So, are they saying each shot... So you get to choose 3 targets, and each of them take 3d4? Because presumably, like, that's a lot more damage than an Eldritch Blast. Potentially, like, 3 times the amount of damage an Eldritch Blast can do. Yes, your range is shortened, but 3 times the damage?
I think it's to represent the idea of a shotgun going off. So it's that idea that, like, you're firing this so point blank that what damage you would lose, I would almost flavor it as the damage you would lose. You're losing damage over all the range you gain from a regular Eldritch Blast. It's so concentrated from the source that it's kind of like thicker bolts of energy. So you're getting this quick shotgun spray across 3 targets of 3d4. And I think that's the thing. It's doing 3d4 across 3 targets. I don't think it's 3d4 per target, because that would be kind of broken. If it was 3d4 per target, though, I wouldn't be mad. Quite honestly, because 12 damage. If you're hitting something with this at the right point for 12 damage, and you're getting 12 damage on each of your rolls, you've had a damn good roll. What can I do?
Fair,
you know what I
fair.
mean? Whether you're level 3 or 13, it's a good roll. So, I think getting past the fear of big numbers make an ability broken. You have to remember that there's low numbers on that big number scale.
True, true. I don't know if this is addressed later on. I know someone had asked about it in the actual Reddit post, but I'm wondering how they take what happens when your Eldritch Blast levels up, like when you hit level 5. Do you get one extra d4 on them? Do you get another 3d4 on the target? That kind of thing. But we will look at that later, because the next one, Spin, is just so complicated. Just to shoot your attack, you fire 5 blasts. Each one does 1d2 damage, so you're flipping a coin. Okay. And you have to roll a separate attack with a penalty of -4 for each of them.
Huh?
What? There's like, you gotta remember like 6 facts for your basic attack.
I feel like you're forcing me to do long division.
Why?
Okay, and again, I'm not trying to be overcritical here. I want to avoid sounding overcritical. But folks, if you're making an ability for a class, don't make it this complicated. Don't put too many numbers in there, because if the DM doesn't want to run all those numbers, as a DM, I'm not running all those numbers.
That's true.
I'm going to be the first to tell you, it's not happening. So yeah, just save everybody the headache. Don't put so many numbers in these things. Okay?
Keep it simple. The more simple it is, the faster your players run through it.
So much better.
And the final version of Eldritch Blast is that it pierces through hard materials. It deals slightly less damage, but it can ignore any type of cover. And it is not specifying that you can see that target behind them. There's none of that. It just pierces any cover. So, like, if there's no specification, you have 120 feet, why wouldn't you just have a bunch of warlocks of the board with their service weapon just like outside a building shooting into it?
Raining hell. Just raining hell, right?
Yeah. They would just never stop firing. Eventually they're going to hit something.
They wouldn't have to stop. Because it's Eldritch Blast.
Man.
So they don't have to stop.
I would at least put some kind of, like, just lowering the damage die by 1 step is not enough to make it ignore any type of cover and not have any specifications other than that.
Yeah, that's a tough. That's tough. That's really tough sell, I think, to leave as is. It's gonna need some adjustments here and there for me. I can't justify that kind of of madness. And especially because it seems like they're just getting this from point blank.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you've got a service weapon. Welcome to the ability to shoot through buildings.
Oh, I made a mistake. There are actually 6 service weapons
Oh no.
types, so there's more. So far, though,
Sure.
definitely spin is the worst one. Bar none.
Eldritch
Worst one.
Blast can now be charged with more energy. The cantrip can now. Oh. Zoomed up.
Oh, so you
What?
can. Why? 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 You burst out around you, but Eldritch Blast is one of the longest ranged. I think it's the longest ranged cantrip in the game.
300 feet. You can get it up to 300 feet.
Like, why? Are you banking on someone running up to you so you like charge up early? You're like, this guy, if he dashes every turn, I can blast him. I'll be shooting at disadvantage because he'll be right next to me, but I can do an extra 3d4 to him if I hit.
This is for the person who wanted to use gun kata to do a Shin Shoryuken on an enemy charging at them. This is the ability, because that's exactly what you're doing.
Oh
You are Shin Shoryukening. You are getting some of the Shin show and just uppercutting them. Because that's the only way I can see this going off. Cannot imagine this going off in a regular fashion.
Nope. Oh, I just realized the way it's written, you're not even firing a beam. This is just around you. Why do you need a gun to pulse around you?
Because you're so awesome and so powerful that the common thought of doing things in a normal manner offends you.
What the? Oh my! Not even Speedy would be down with this kind of gun.
Speedy might be down with this kind of gun. I was gonna leave it till the end. I was gonna be like, of all the people I could think of, I would offer this to Speedy.
Immediately who I thought of once I was like, oh, you can get this revolver that you could change the title.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of Grimbo. I thought of Speedy.
No, Speedy. You said this, and I was just like, okay, so what are we giving Speedy? Like, what are we handing him?
The final one, Surge. Your Eldritch Blast is now a sticky grenade.
Okay. All right. So, go on.
And it only does. It's a sticky grenade, the 5-foot radius. It only does 1d4 damage.
What?
And it's not explained that they have to dodge it or anything. It's just when it goes off, everyone takes that damage. And only 1d4 for a fully charged. Why is the damage so low on the explosion abilities?
It's like they don't want you to blow up anything. They're like, hey,
weak as hell.
They're like, hey, we get it. We've given you the ability to be really strong, but like, could you tone yourself down? We'd appreciate it.
Hey. We know we gave you one of the best cantrips in the game. Now we're gonna fuck it up for you.
Like, don't thank us. Don't thank us. In fact, get angry with us, because we need to feel bad about what we've done. Right.
So far, service weapon not looking good. There was a comment in the thread where somebody said something about, yo, can you fix the service weapon? And Artemis said, "Oh, way back when somebody took my version of the service weapon and made a magic item, and it worked really well." And the person was like, "Where's that?" Artemis was like, "It's in this thread somewhere." It's not in that thread.
Fun fact, it's nowhere to be found.
And at level 1, you also get the identify spell, because the board is looking for things to secure, contain, and protect people from. Very, very similar idea to Astral Griffin.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like the identify spell being handed there early. Because I like the idea of kind of having the players look around for things and like almost be collectors of magical items.
I recently heard, all of you should know by now that like I hand out items like candy.
Yeah.
That's who I am as a DM. Like I hand out items like candy. And I heard
What about
recently.
but you know what you should hand out? Experience.
I wasn't gonna say anything. So if I showed you guys the inventory of one of my players, you'd be like, this is more items than I've gotten in a whole campaign. And like almost all of them have that if they write down what items I give them, because obviously we have some players who never write down what they're supposed to have. But if they all wrote that down, their inventories would be like pages and pages long. And my players are constantly like, "You've given me nothing. I can't level up. Therefore, I haven't received any XP. I've made no advancements." And I'm like, "Do you understand that?" I recently heard some talk about they were talking with the developers of 5e, and they said that the game is balanced based on the fact that your players find maybe one magic item, sometimes none, the whole game. And I was like, huh? Huh?
Yeah, that I've read that. I'll be fair and honest with you. I give out magic items a lot in my campaigns too. Uh, it's usually things that are earned at the end of like long side quests or like long chains of events, uh, or potentially stolen. If
Mm-hmm.
people want to risk it for the biscuit, things of that nature. But like the idea that they only get one, they only see one in a campaign, it's absolutely preposterous.
Like,
I
I
I'm not
can't,
even sure that the person who said that has ever played that game.
right?
Played the game.
I can't imagine. I would be. Listen, I'm the exact opposite of my players. Anything that I can take with me is like a reward that I've gained.
Oh yeah.
Anything. You give me an item, you give me some money, you give me like a bounty board.
Information.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, give it.
oh, hell yeah, I'm advancing here. To not get any toys to play with when there's so many that are official? What is that?
Give me the toys. Give me toys to play with.
And I'm not saying that. I know a lot of people think when you give players magic items that like you added an item into the world that is absolutely specific, like it's intended to be used by one specific party member. I don't necessarily do that. I do that the items that make the most sense for being in that area are what the players can find, and then they can decide amongst themselves. Like every once in a while, I'm like, oh, this is for you. It's related to your character's backstory. Like this one is yours, but it still fits within the world as something that would have been there.
Hmm.
I'm not like oh, I have a barbarian that really likes to do this. I have to give him this one item that specifically boosts that. That's not the way I am.
Hmm.
Oh no. I turn my head over. So bound objects of power. The board gets you. The board, once you get level 6, you can attune to something, and it will give you new abilities, what have you. I just turned my head and read, debate with your DM what the objects do. Nah.
No.
No.
No, we're gonna stop that right here.
That is the
If I say
terrible choice of words.
there are certain things that I will discuss with my players happily, but there are certain things you will not debate with me as your TM. No, that's not. No, if I tell you it's a rod of fireball, you're not gonna be like it's a rod of firestorm, or no, it's a rod of wish with 18 charges. No, no, I didn't give that to you. You thought you wish I would give that to you. Maybe in your deepest, darkest fantasy, I've given that to you, where I'm the nicest. Not even the nicest, where I'm the dumbest DM in human history. But no, no, you'll never argue with me about what's going on in the game. And that's not to say like what I say is law, so much as to say that's not the way to approach.
Yeah. No.
This. Like, this isn't the way you should approach the conversation.
Taking a peek at these, you get to have 2 of these abilities that apparently you'll just have for the rest of the game. It doesn't say you can swap them out at later times, what have you. But of these abilities, like almost every single one of them has different, like either an amount or when you can use them. It made it so needlessly complicated. It would have been so much easier to just be like, you get this, it recovers at this time. You get this, it recovers at this time. You get this, it recovers at this time. But almost each one of these is totally different. I'm not going to say they're bad options. Like, they're just, it's too, you're making it so overly complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, evade as a free action. So not a bonus action, not an action. You teleport up to 10 feet in any direction of your choice without triggering an opportunity attack. You then have to wait 12 seconds in world to do it again. Why? That's too specific.
Because we demand complication at all times.
Oh, here's another
Because that's
one.
exactly what that is.
Launch, you can use catapult once, and then you have to take a short rest without using a spell slot. What if you already learned catapult? Like, that's silly. I mean, yeah, you're gonna take a nap, but then the one underneath that, shield. As a reaction, you can cast a spell shield twice without using a spell slot. You regain this
You know
ability
what?
after a short rest.
You're gonna let me argue that I can use that I have a ring of catapult. You're gonna let me argue that.
Ooh. Seize, you
So
can
we
use
can-
hold person, but once. Why is shield twice? Is that because it's a reaction?
Yes.
Shield is so, like... I guess the only word I can think of for this is shield is a very clutch ability.
It saves more magic players. More magic built players and characters than I think any other spell in the game.
And not for the bonus
That's
of you
not
being
exact.
immune to magic missile. That's not what we're
No.
talking about here.
No, it has absolutely nothing to do with the magic missile immunity. it is absolutely disgusting how much you can get away with in when you start using stuff like shield. You skyrocket an AC,
Mhm.
which is not something most people can say they do at any point in time.
Oh, I do see at the bottom, whenever you gain a Warlock level, you can swap one of these out. Okay. So you can sort of customize yourself. Okay. I understand that in Control, she can't necessarily fly. She does levitate, so they used levitate. But here, they give you the fly spell. That is not the same as levitation. That's just a nitpicky thing on my side. If anything, it should give you the ability to hover, if that's really what you're going for. Or you could just call it flight. You didn't need to call it levitate. That's needlessly confusing just in a naming sense.
But it's meta.
Oh. Oh no. Remember how I said I don't know how they're going to level up with Eldritch Blast? No.
Yeah.
Your Eldritch Blast spell, if you're firing it out of your gun, doesn't get any better when you hit 5th level. It only gets better at 10th level.
Oh.
Oh no. Oh no. Why? No, you've made it even more complicated. You get to choose
Because
3
why
forms
not?
instead of 2. And oh man, now your grip form casts it. You're level 10. Why is the level 10 ability that your cantrip becomes level 11? You're killing
Because
me.
why? Because why not?
Ah.
Why not? See, what you're thinking about is it's too small potatoes. Think too small, man. You think too small potatoes.
Wait. This one, Shatter goes up from original damage was 3d4. Now you get plus 1 die. No. You get double
Okay,
the
that's
dice and they step up.
okay. That's a bit much. That's
And spin goes up from a 1d2 to a 1d8 5 times. Like, it's so many dice. But now, wait a minute.
that's okay. Now you're doing too much. You're doing too much right now.
You get a -6 penalty. The penalty gets worse.
Yeah, they're doing the most right now. Okay, they're doing the absolute most right now. I need them to not do. I need them to absolutely not do all that. Hold on one.
Pierce goes up to 2d12 through any cover? Come on. No one would ever survive. If you had like one warlock in this world who had Pierce with an upgraded service weapon, no one would ever survive.
No. No, I think that's that. I'm curious to see what else they're giving this.
Your blast around you is going up from 1d4 to 1d10, or it can be 3d10 if you wait 3 turns. So you're just holding your action to do nothing. You're hoping you're being the only situation this makes sense in is if this is your Warlock's last stand. I'm talking Halo Reach. The planet's about to be glassed.
Oh my
and your guy is on one knee with his service weapon pointed
God.
at the floor, waiting.
Oh, that is. Jeez. Could you be more cinematic? Could, could you
I
find a
swear to
more
God,
cinematic moment?
if I was if I was in a party and we had the board Warlock and we were all level 10, I swear to fucking God, if he equips charge and ran forward and aimed his gun at the ground and waited instead of letting the tanks go, I'd kill him myself.
Now I hope that happens. Now, just because it would drive you insane, I hope that is exactly what happens.
I would move everyone away from him in those 3 rounds.
I hope that is exactly, Okami, I hope that is exactly what hits you now. Because that, I know, I can see that driving me insane. So I can only imagine.
Again,
I can
I'm
only,
not like a min-max player or anything like that. Like, that's
Right.
not who I am as a person. But this is just a dumb move unless you're using it for cinematic purposes.
Yeah, I have to agree that this doesn't seem like you're really thinking about any kind of real sensible world build. It doesn't fit to me. And again, if you in the comments or if you here listening feel like you could do it, feel free to correct us. I'm very curious to hear how you would implement it. But personally, I don't know. I don't think it would work for me.
Yeah, wouldn't do it for me either. Listen, if you can think of a better reason than the planet's about to be glassed, your helmet just came off, like, hit me with it. Hit me with it. 'Cause I can't see any other reason. Okay, Surge, this is the sticky bomb version, is going up from 1d4 to now it's 1d12, and it's a 10-foot radius. The only cool thing about this, obviously, garbage damage output compared to what a normal Eldritch Blast would be doing now. But you can choose to delay the explosion. You can trigger it as a reaction when you need. That means it's indefinite. You could stick someone with an Eldritch Blast grenade, wait the year for them to sail home to their family, and then go, yeah, and just have their living room explode.
I like how you wait the year for them to find their loved one. Establish a loving reconnection, and then detonate on Christmas morning.
And like, it's never explained. Artemis didn't explain like what any of this looks like. So potentially they have no idea because it doesn't leave any residue or anything.
Oh, none.
This is, oh man. There are some very neat ideas here, but I don't think any of them really work properly in game.
No. I can almost guarantee that my final verdict on this is going to be a no use. But I do want to finish it off. I do want to see what happens now at higher points.
Powerful bounding. At 14th level, your body allows for better connection. You can now choose 3 skills instead of 2. And oh no, they're all different. Oh god. Okay. Evade.
Okay.
Now you only have to wait 6 seconds before you can teleport again. Okay. Outside of combat, imagine how fucking annoying that would be. Actually,
Dude, Dark Souls. Your Dark Souls are old Dark Souls where the whole meta was just roll and hope you pray you get a backstab.
Shoom, 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 shoom. Launch. Your catapult spell can now shoot objects double the weight. Okay.
Interesting.
Shield. Shield gives you a +6 instead of a +5. All right, that one
because
is small, but like that's a lot.
that's an entire AC. That's an entire armor class up. We're talking like chain to plate. It's impressive.
Seize changes from hold person to dominate person. Oh. And levitate, you can fly as a bonus action.
Okay. That is extremely strong.
Is all I have to say about that. Yeah. As a bonus act. Well, I guess if your bonus action, I was gonna say you're not allowed to cast 2 leveled spells. So the idea is that you'd be casting your bonus action and then preparing your service weapon. That's no. I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
And then you also get, whenever you take a long rest, you can talk to the board and ask for tips on supernatural events and objects. Your DM should tell you if anything that would interest the board has appeared in any place of the world.
I'd be like, go to hell. Get out of my face.
What? Why?
I don't like that. I don't.
Not even like someplace you can get to. Just like, yo, in a teeny tiny corner of the Underdark, I think there's a really cool hat there. Can you go get it for me? No?
Yeah, I don't.
This is.
I get what they were going for. Again, I think similar to the Empowered, the goal was to appease fans of obviously Control. But I think one, the formation and the tools used by it doesn't fit in a standard high fantasy game. I need this for a modern game where there's guns allowed and you're in like a you're maybe in like a more cyberpunk-esque world, because otherwise it just doesn't make sense. You're almost like an isekai.
And like, not only is it complicated for the player to remember, but all these dice rolls, just imagine like you're sitting at a party, you've got a party of 4 or 5 players. They do their thing, they do their thing, they do their thing. Board Patron Warlock comes up. He's like, yeah, hold on. I'm gonna roll. 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 Wait, now I have to roll my damage. I'm gonna roll. Wait, I have to apply some stuff to each of these separately. No.
Oh,
no.
Someone's getting beaten at my table immediately.
And if you have a big party, like me with the 6 players or higher, like people who are playing 8 or 10 people at a table, you would never get anything done.
Never in a million years. No, I couldn't. I personally would lose it. I don't think this would work.
Oh my god. I would be okay. So now that we know everything about the board Patron Warlock, I think I would be happier actually if they ran forward, aimed their gun at the floor, and just waited. Because then they don't have to roll like 800 dice and get some coins.
Oh god.
I would rather you do nothing so that the rest of us can play. I think we know what this means. You asked to be
Do we-
judged. We find ye guilty!
we can't. We unfortunately cannot approve the usage of the board. We vote the board off. I think. um,
Ooh.
and again, I think it could be cool in certain situations, but too much of the game, in my opinion, has to be catered to fit the board.
Mm.
And the standard fare of D&D, when you get into certain classes and subclasses and, of things of these natures, similar to the Empowered, you really need its own world, because imagine being a regular barbarian and you've got someone who's with an axe and someone's pulling out a gun. Here
Fair.
you are in the middle of the forest fighting goblins and they're pulling out a literal revolver. You're going to be confused. And as a DM, you're probably going to be like, wait, I'm not big on fighting someone's, character design or immersion and stuff like that, but there are certain things that I'm kind of like, hey, could we find a different way to work this out?
Like, I get it. I get. This is obviously specifically biased towards one of my players who really wants guns in the Forgotten Realms, and it's not because he just wants guns. Like, he wants guns because he sees it as a way to even the playing field. Like, he thinks that guns are gonna keep up with spellcasters, and that's just not true. Unless it's like a mounted turret, like real machine gun, it's not gonna keep up with a spellcaster.
It'll never keep up. It's not built to keep up. And that's the whole point. That's kind of why I feel like guns in the Forgotten Realms don't make sense. Why would I pick a bullet over the ability to literally decimate up the ability to shift reality? You're going to shoot me. I'm going to shift reality and put you in an astral plane of a different existence.
It's not gonna help, bro.
I don't think your bullet's all too effective here.
And like, that isn't even to say that I am using guns in some capacity in my version of the Forgotten Realms, but like, they're magical guns, so they do something weird. Like, we have in the town that Grimjack's people are from, they equipped the head of the town guard. He has a rifle, except it doesn't fire bullets. You can pour potions and powders into it, and it makes a projectile out of them. So if he pours sleeping powder in there and he fires it, instead of like a sleep spell cloud coalescing and it taking out, like, it has to, the way sleep spell works, if you don't know, is it goes after the person with the lowest maximum HP, or rather the lowest current HP, not maximum, and it will put them to sleep and then move on based on what you roll. The way I have his shots work is he can shoot, he can hit, or he can miss. If he misses, he's wasted that potion, but if he hits, all of the sleep spell is going into that one person. So he's still technically using it like a spell, but it is a gun, and it has changed the way that the spell functions. Like, I think that's super cool. Like, if you merge magic and technology, that's great. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
But like, just having black powder doesn't mean that the average person, like, if you put a bunch of peasants with guns up against a bunch of wizards, they'll definitely kill a few wizards, but the wizards are probably going to obliterate those peasants.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000. If they don't, I'd really wonder how they survive.
Especially when you consider that rules as written, because firearms don't necessarily like exist as normal. Most people don't have proficiency. The DM is supposed to decide whether someone has proficiency with a firearm. So you figure the peasants, it's bad enough their stats are 10s. All 10s across the board. Not only are they going to be crap at firing the guns, but the most firearms have the reload property, so they have to stop and reload.
And then reload. Yeah, they do. And if you've never used anything with the reload is the reason why people pick bows over crossbows. Unless deciding to build into unless diving to level 4 to get crossbow expert to gain the ability as a feat to reload a crossbow. There is actually no existing class that gives any bonus to the crossbow.
Listen, I love me some crossbows, but you're not going to beat the bow guys.
No. Crossbow is linear. Shotgun. You fire straight. The bow hits 300 feet, like 120 to 300 feet of range, or 180 feet of range on a longbow. You're not beating that. And I think you can get up to 300 feet or something like that.
We have, wait, let me look at, the ranger in our game. You guys may know him as Jack DT. He is playing, his ranger is Goblin Slayer. He's got sharpshooter, so I think with sharpshooter you have no disadvantage range. I think he has 600 feet of range or something.
Sorry.
And like at the beginning, we were trying to explain that because it's his first time playing, we're like, oh, all right, that's fine. Yeah, you don't have. You can also choose to take a -5 penalty to add +10 to the attack's damage, but like just the ability that you don't have disadvantage range. Like since most of my party was new to playing D&D, explained to them that like he can shoot from anywhere. Like he doesn't have to be on the battle map that I am making. That's how far his range is compared to the rest of you guys. Like he could be outside of the forest taking pot shots into it.
Yeah. When you really break down that range and what that means, it means that you are essentially you're miles away from the fight. Essentially, just you're almost a mile away from the fight, just pinging things down. Nothing can respond to you. In fact, most things won't even know you're getting ready to hit it because the average thing has sight within 60 feet. You are 10 times outside of those things' range of vision. At best, if they have 120 feet, you're still 5 times outside of their range of vision.
That being said, Goblin Slayer specifically in our game, I made the orcs have special bows that you need a certain amount of strength to be able to wield. So his range is actually shorter than the average person, but his arrows do more damage because of it. So he's only got 400 feet, but that's still way bigger than battle maps I'm going to make.
Which makes sense. But again, overall, I, in your opinion, I think you agree with me, Okami, that
the board's not going in. That being said, it's not getting added to my repository, but there will be a link to the board on this video. So if you guys watch it later on, there will be a link to the page for the board here.
Yeah, hey, if you feel like you could use it in your campaign, tell us below.
Yeah.
Be interested to hear it.
Why did I? Oh, it zoomed me out. That's weird. Instead of zooming me in. And if you somehow have a copy of the board with its edits, we'll definitely take a peek at that too.
Okay.
Whatever they added. I know at some point they said something like, "Oh, I made there be less D2s." I was like, how about none D2s?
Well, yeah, less D2s is less appeasing than no D2.
Yeah. But we made it through another episode. This one was subclasses. If any of you are watching now, or you happen to catch this as a VOD on YouTube, actually it'll also be up on Twitch. But Twitch, it'll be harder for you to leave a comment after the video's gone. So you'll have to hit me up on Twitter or come to the YouTube version. We run a poll after the stream to see what we're going to do next week. We should be back on Monday next week. I think we'll have DM Lakara should be back. We might have another DM joining us. And I'm hoping DM Bacon comes back at some point. But we run a poll, like I said at the beginning. It's for us, but technically there's an extra vote because the Jukebox account will have a vote in that poll as well. So whatever you guys write, I will count that as a vote, a community vote towards the things. But it looks like I'm going to keep what I've set these as in my bookmarks as the poll options. So we've got articles, 3D prints, which will be weird to go through. We'll basically just be looking through people's catalogs of 3D prints based on Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. So that might be a cool activity, but there's not really much for us to grade besides oh, this actually looks like the creature in the book, or this doesn't. Backgrounds, classes, creatures, feats. Homework, like I said before, is based on a joke that DM Bacon had made at the beginning. When I first brought this up as an idea, where I was like, okay, so I'm hoping to go through a bunch of different items during the day. I'll just bring up bookmarks and what have you. But maybe there might be a little supplement or something that you'd have to sit and read at some point. And DM Bacon was like, I don't want to go through multiple things. I want you to give me homework. So homework is either a biome with creatures in it and spells and stuff like that, or a bunch of stuff in one, like a whole compendium of subclasses or that kind of thing. Then there's magic items. There's maps. Maps is harder for us to go through and really talk about because it'll just be here's the map. What would you use it for? But it's there. Races and sub-races are also in there. I realized that one D&D is not going to call them races anymore. They're going to be lineages, but I'm gonna keep calling them races. Sorry. Spells, subclasses like we did today.
They're races until the day I die.
Yep. Because you can't. I get that you can say lineages, but there's a difference between race and subrace. So you don't say lineage and sublineage. It's just confusing to put those two things together.
I personally cannot, so nope.
And the last one is tools, which will I guess be us going over a D&D related tool, not necessarily buying it, but it's if it's something that needs to be purchased, but we can go over them. So these are essentially the options that you have for the poll. It runs for 24 hours. I pretty much do it right after we end the stream, and then runs for 24 hours. So if you do watch the VOD or you're watching now and you want one of these options, I will put in the community vote for you. And moving forward, that's what we'll do at the end of every stream. So you guys have more than enough options to come join us and stuff. If more than one option has been posed in the chat or the comments, or somebody sent it to me on Twitter, I'll choose the one that has the most votes.
We don't bite, I promise.
Yeah, come chat with us. Come hang out. Let's talk D&D. We're having fun out here. We're getting stuff done, having fun. It's good. It's good. I have been DM Okami or Scott, whatever you want to call me. You're watching on my two channels. You might also be watching on Evil Crossover's channel. If that's the case, thank you. And come hang out on the channel with come on over to my channel.
As always, I am DM Shin. Always glad to be here with you guys and to be back with Okami and the rest of my fellow DMs that join us. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget, like, comment, share, subscribe, and put more than LaCroix in the fridge of DM Okami. Because if I go there and taste LaCroix, I will also be sad and potentially cry.
All right, I'm going to kill Twitch first. So bye everyone on Twitch. Thanks for hanging out. Twitch.